Hey, live on Pat Soundbytes IGTV. You know me, keeping new music alive on the radio and on video. And man, do I love this guy and that band right behind me with that rocket ship that is launched, gone into space. Bring it on back with little red voodoo and my man Davin. I'm going to screw this up, though. Loiler. Yeah. Oiler with an L. Okay, Pat. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing really good today. How are you doing?
Well, now that we got the technology under control for a minute, I'm doing great, pal. And great to be able to promote that Red Voodoo is going to Sammy Land. Well, I should say, I call him Dino Haggard McCord, and in loving memory of one of the greatest guitar players of all time, Ed Van Halen. I got to say, David Van Halen Loiler. How's that? So there you go. I got to come up with something for Nick and Andrew. I have no idea, but when we get them on, we'll worry about that. David and the guys are going to Cabo, Wabo, Cantina, October 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Man, if that doesn't excite you, man, what else? Is Sammy going to be there?
We're keeping our fingers crossed, but we're staying hopeful.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I mean, Dino got to live that dream, so hopefully, I would think the Red Rock would love to make an appearance and support you guys. I know I don't know if it was Dino or one of you guys wrote to him, we'll play in Catalina Island or something, or Vegas, and he said, no, the stage is too small. I'll take care of you guys. So obviously he did. Man, I got to talk about this great album. Bring it back a little. KSA, it just starts off with a little kick some ass. And, as I said to Dino, you guys are the 21st century mix of a Van Halen, Van Hagar, and your own influences. Which is pretty damn cool. So you got to be excited. You got so much going on. You did some great shows already. Open for Y&T. And Aaron Lee, who I got a chance to chat with.
Oh, yeah. He's a cool dude.
Yeah. What a story that guy has. I mean, just happened to be in the same neighborhood and saw Frank and gave his name and number to Frank. And before you know it, he's Frank's guitar tech. And then things just happen. So it's all good. So tell me about this Cabo thing. How was it a little magic of Frank, a little magic of Dino, a little, tell me about it. 4 nights in Cabo.
So I'm pretty sure our singer Dino had been talking a little bit with Sammy, and we had been wanting to do something for a while, and with each other, obviously. And just things never worked out. COVID got in the way, or stages were too small, or something like you were saying. And
right.
And so we finally got around to all of us going to Cabo at the same time. And he was having a conversation with Sammy one day on the text chat he's in, I think. And they got it going to where we could play 4 nights at the Cabo Wabo Cantina.
Holy crap. Now I'm going to Cabo at the end of February. So I could, ask Dino again to text so I can see you guys live. Well, I'll be in LA for a couple of days, and then I get on a little cruise boat and get down. I always wanted to do the Mexican Riviera, and I'm like, I got to go to Cabo. So yeah, no, that'd be cool.
It'll be my first time going there before. I mean, I've been to Mexico, but I've never been to Cabo before. So it's going to be an adventure for all of us.
Cool. Tell me about what's your favorite track on this great album. I mean, KSA, I went through the tracks. If you didn't get a chance to see it with Dino, each track. And I mean, what I liked about it, David, is just the diversity. It wasn't the same stuff every song. I mean, there's a lot there going on. I mean, from KSA to Morgan Lane, I mean, it just goes in a little bit different direction, but it's a great journey. I like the flow of an album. I want to just crank it, put the CD in and crank it. And I mean, when you kick off with KSA and then you just go, I liked all of the flow of it. I mean, great guitar riff. Congratulations. Awesome Dino with his strong vocals. I mean, I don't know how he does it. And then the Drew and Nick with the rhythm section and great harmonies. I don't think you guys get enough credit on the harmony part that really puts it together. So tell me about this songwriting process. Tell me about your favorite song on this album and how surprised you were that how it came out.
Well, as far as songwriting process goes, before I get into my favorites, it all starts usually with a riff or a guitar riff or a vocal idea that Dino comes up with or a chorus. And then we all sit down in the same space and we're like, okay, we know that we want this song to go a certain way. So let's try to piece together this puzzle. And like I said, a guitar riff, and we try to usually lead that into the verse. I don't want to give away all of our secrets, but it's a very
no, don't do that.
It's a very collaborative process, and each person brings their own ideas and elements to the table. And it's always a great experience when we sit down to write something new. And just like writing this album, it was always what can we do to elevate the songs to a higher level? Just kind of take them from this plateau they're on to something great. And as far as my favorite song, I think we did a great job of doing it on Into the Unknown. I think that's a song that's kind of the dark horse on this album that doesn't really get the light or the recognition that it deserves. But that song to me just sums up perfectly the instrumentality or the instrumentation and the musical talents that we all bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a lot there. I'm not a musician, but I think it's so important, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that to have you guys, whether you're in Frank's studio or even your house, to be there, like you said, you just work this recipe together with these ideas and different ingredients. But today, what's obviously studio costs money at places and people live all over the place, and sending me a track and I'm sending you a track and doing Zooms, I would be afraid that you miss that chemistry, with everybody in the room, of Drew say, wait, let's try this. Or you come up with a different guitar riff, or Frank tells Dino to go at a different range or how to enunciate a word properly or breathe properly. I think you would miss all that. So I think it's important that you were able, even in today's COVID heading, you guys were still able to get together and make it work, right?
Oh yeah, no, that was a big part of everything, was the chemistry, because we've known for a while that we all have great chemistry together, and we wanted to find a good way to capture that on the sound of the album, which is another reason why Frank decided it would be a good reason to record the album live, no click tracks like they did back in the day on some of those first Beatles albums or some of those first Van Halen albums. It breathes. It's not just static. It's alive. So that's a way we try to capture the chemistry. But like you were saying, it's a very important thing to have that chemistry in there. And, that's, someone has an idea that they want to get across. It's perfect time for them to say it, right in the moment when it's happening.
And these songs were pretty much created at that time. I mean, if I know you did the Rise Up, obviously Frank says, hey, you want me to work for you? Write a great song. And you did. And I mean, it was relevant, and you donated money. And I mean, I bought the bundle. I'm like, anybody that does the right thing, I don't care how old you are, how many years you've been doing it, when you do the right thing and you're giving to folks that could use the money and all the headache that we went through with COVID. And the song is great. I mean, you definitely brought the challenge. You rose up to the challenge. You did a great video, but now you're taking off, your own tracks. I mean, I watched you yesterday with, year anniversary of our great loss of the wonderful Eddie Van Halen. And I saw you doing some tracks. I mean, you can do covers all you want, but to have your own song, and I probably no better feeling of people singing those lyrics back to you. I mean, it's got to be like, really, I wrote this in my bedroom, and people can gravitate to it and love it and are yelling the lyrics back. It's got to be pretty cool.
That's one of the crazy things about when we play these live shows, is that since the album has been out for some time and it's gained some popularity, we look out when we're playing these songs that we're like, oh, we like them. We wrote these songs. We love them. And we see them mouthing the words. Sometimes Dino and I look at each other and we're like, whoa, look at that. That's crazy. They like this? Wow.
Yeah, no, even the smaller gigs that you have, you got a great following, even those outdoor shows. I mean, I'm sure Frank will tell you, anytime you play in front of one person or 100, it's the experience that it's great experience. And obviously you're going to build upon that and go down to Cabo. I mean, holy crap, that was pretty cool. I forgot what Dino told me. I guess I have my looking at my notes here with my chat with Dino. But how important was it for you guys to release an album versus an EP?
Well, I think that if we had released an EP, because originally the idea was to release an EP, I feel like we had too many good songs, and the songs that we wanted to release towards the EP wouldn't have been as good of a representation of the band as the album is. And there's, when you leave out certain songs, there's songs that people are songs you leave out that people can't, or are going to resonate with more than some of the ones we put on. And so just releasing the greatest songs or the great songs that we've written, as opposed to a certain few, I feel like was just the right move to do.
Talk to me about Bring the story behind the title, Bring It Back. I took it when I read into a lot. I try to, and obviously, music is up to everybody's own interpretation. I think it's about this, but you can tell me it's however you want to believe it on, Pat. That's fine with us. But Bring It On Back brought me to you guys are bringing that 80s great music back to today. And that's what I think I told Dino. I think I've really felt that in all the songs. I mean, I thought you guys killed it. I mean, was that what you were thinking as well when you guys sat down?
When we first started writing music together, because we've been a cover band for so many years, or for a year and a half, and we first decided to write a song, the first song was Bring It Back. So that was the mission statement that we all had decided that we wanted to do, was to bring rock and roll back to the front running, back to our generation. So it started off with me and Dino and an acoustic guitar in Dino's bedroom. And like you were saying, the main idea was to bring back that old school classic rock feeling of rock and roll, back to, the mainstream and the front of the line where it should be. As far as we're concerned, we think it should be where in the front. But the writing of that song was really, it was very simple, because we had two versions of that song. We had the demo and we had the final product. And the space in between gets a little blurry sometimes, but it all started off very simple, like we were saying, with the riff and the lyrics. So then we showed it to the band, and we spent about a day and a half, I think, sitting there trying to figure everything out before we brought it to Frank. And then we ironed it out even more and just made it, what you hear on the album. What
was Frank's initial take on what the stuff that you guys bring to him and go, hey, we're here. We got done shoveling the horse stuff. Now we're here. And this is what we bring to you. And he plugs it in. I mean, he's got to be, I'm smiling for you. I'm sure he's going, my goodness, man. You guys are doing your homework and you're listening really well.
Sometimes it was really funny how he would react. Not in a bad way, but in a way that we were all very proud of what we had written. And when he's sitting across the couch and on the couch from us, and we see him getting into these parts that we thought he would like. And it was always it was like we put a smile on our face, because we would practice in our rehearsal studio before or after, whatever. Sometimes it would vary, before or after we shoveled the crap. And we'd try to write a new song every day. And he would come down to listen to it. And it was all about trying to make the best song we could, show to him. And sometimes he would react and he would say, hey, that part right there sounds like it might need a little tweaking. And then he'd sit there and kind of direct, what he wants to have happen, or what should happen here instead of this. And other times he'd be like, man, yeah, that was awesome. That again.
And then, that's cool, because I think the job of a producer, A, has got to be a great listener, and B, more of a polisher. Like I said, you make that ingredient and says, I'll add a little spice here, and not take away the core of what you guys were doing. And it sounds like, obviously Frank is doing that. By my goodness, if anybody has the experience, Frank would know. You got Morgan Lane, which is like acoustic, is like a killer. Mystery Girl, I mean, I action scream at the Dino scream at the end. I'm like, oh my goodness, dude. I'm like, calm down. And then you got, like you said, Hourglass and Into the Unknown. And you ended with Rise Up, which I thought was a really good fitting song to really put a closure to album number one. Obviously, I would think you guys are probably working on album number two, no?
Naturally, yeah, we always sit down to work on new music, but we've definitely got a good handful of songs that all feel like they're in the same vein and would belong on an album together. So I guess you could say we are starting a little bit of the writing process for number two.
Excellent. Now, I always get beat up, Davin. You know, I'm not a guitarist or a musician, but a lot of my viewers, my folks on the radio show, my listeners say, Pat, ask them some gear questions. So I see you got some beautiful looking babes on your wall. So what's your go-to guitar? What type of string? What do you plug into?
So these guitars behind me are actually all built by my dad. He got into a phase over the pandemic where he wanted to build guitars, but they're all good guitars too. We actually donated one, but the main guitar I used was actually a guitar that I got from Kramer. Kramer gifted it to Frank, and Frank has been letting me use it for all this time. And it's my main Kramer 84 Beretta. And that's the white one that you see me use in the Rise Up music video and the Bring It Back music video. And just the guitar itself has such a different tone. It's got a bite to it, you know. It's sharp. It pierces through the mix, which is great for what you want to have in rock and roll.
Exactly.
And as far as what I plug into, the main pedal that I love to use to get my distortion sound is an EVH overdrive pedal, which is, you know, obviously branded from the man himself. And
nothing wrong with that.
And it creates that sound that I've always tried to capture, and I can pinch out certain harmonics where I usually wouldn't be able to with another distortion pedal. And we actually modified my amp a little bit so that way it could get a better tone. But I don't use it in the videos. I use it live when we play. It's a Behringer, but we removed the interior cone and replaced it with a carbon cone for it's like a 300 watts. So it's way loud. It's, you know, we need to be loud when we play. That's the thing, is like in your face. And I plugged that into a Marshall, and that's like my setup. It's very abstract and out of nowhere. When people ask me, what's your setup? I always tell them that, and they're like, huh, yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Now, strings. I mean, do you use heavy strings? Do you use a pick, or you're all fingers?
Well, I use a pick. Yeah, I use a little bit of a thicker pick. I think it's 0.88 millimeters. But my strings, when we went down to LA to play that Monsters of Rock crew studio, Frank's guitar tech was there, and he said, "Who do you use, 10s?" I was like, "No, I use 8s." And he's like, "How do you still have fingers?" You know, everybody that I tell I use 8s, they're very surprised because it's so thin that it usually wears down your fingers. But Eddie always used 8s because he liked to get the super high bends, and that's what I like to do as well. So, you know, I use Ernie Ball 8s, and they've always been perfect because they're low enough to where you can get a decent amount of crunch, but they're light enough to where that crunch isn't dark. It's happy. So that's perfect what I use.
Did you ever, obviously you said your dad built the guitar in the back. So was he your main influence getting into, you know, you're taking you probably your first concert, or he's sitting there playing Eddie or Angus or Jimi Hendrix?
It's funny you bring that up because when I was 6, he had introduced me to Van Halen prior to that, probably about 4. Because I had the video disc of the greatest video hits from Van Halen. I popped that into the DVD player, and I'd sit there and watch it for hours until the disc got scratched up and it wouldn't play anymore. And so when I was 6, he took me to my first concert, and it was a Van Halen concert, the reunion tour. I saw him at Arco Arena in Sac, and the seats were the farthest back they could be. But when I was 6, I was like, that's Van Halen down there. But of course, then they're playing 2.5-hour shows, and I was like, when are they going to play Panama? Yeah, when he's the one that taught me about almost all the stuff I know. I would sit there and play Guitar Hero in my room for hours, and I'd play a song over and over again because I like feeling like I could play it. He's like, "You want to learn how to actually play that song?" Yeah. So he'd sit down and we'd have an amp, and he'd show me how to play it, and I would get so frustrated, and I'd like, "Well, I'm done with this," and then come back the next day and get it, and it'd be, it'd all be great. But that was how I learned a lot of the early stuff, was because my dad showing me all that stuff.
It's funny you mentioned Guitar Heroes. My son had it here. His friends would always bring games over, and they would practice. And I finally said, I got to try this. And I think the only song I actually was not too bad was Jane's Addiction. What the hell is the name of the song? I should know it. The Mountain Song. And I was like, I actually wasn't too bad, but I like watching the colors and watching this strings. It's pretty cool.
It's funny that everybody says, "Oh, you play guitar, you're great at Guitar Hero." I'm like, no, it's weird because I watch these colors and I know how to play the song, and I don't have to do that, and it just feels wrong. So I'm actually really bad at Guitar Hero.
You mentioned Van Halen. I never got to see the Van Hagar concert end of it, but I got to see David in 82, 83. And it was actually Alex's birthday, which was really cool. I had a little Polaroid camera, and I do have a picture of David doing the split. Now, we were in the second or third tier at a place called the New Haven Coliseum in Connecticut, which no longer exists. But I spent a lot of time there. I got to see AC/DC open up for Kiss in 1977. Now, everybody's getting ready for Kiss. I mean, it was like Kiss 2 just came. Peter Criss got the drum kit all the way up to the top, and, Ace Frehley and all that. I mean, everybody just Kiss, Kiss, Kiss. And then you're like, what is this? And it was AC, with Angus and Bon Scott, and everybody's jaws hitting the ground, okay, really? Who is this? But it was, Highway to Hell, and which is my buddy, when we would get out of high school, and he would just sit in his bed every day and do Highway to Hell, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da. I'm like, it was either that, Smoke on the Water, Highway to Hell, and then he finally graduated to, it was either Ted Nugent's Stranglehold or I think it was Freebird of Leonard Skinner. But if I didn't hear Highway to Hell every day, I'm like, dude. And he practiced and practiced and practiced. But it seemed like an easy riff to learn, right? I mean,
oh man, that sounds like an easy riff to learn, but it's got some little technical parts in there that you're like, whoa, wait, that doesn't quite sound right when I play it. What's he doing there? So that's a good song too. I always have that song stuck in my head for the randomest reasons. I'm sitting there at work, and I haven't heard that song in a couple of weeks, and it's going through my head always for some reason.
Yeah, it's cool these days that you guys, myself, anybody can watch the video, and I'm sure you can pause it, go like you just said, what is he doing that I'm not picking up? And I think about, sometimes I, interview Frank or somebody, and they go, yeah, I used to play along with the record. So there's no visual, and then, stop it, and figure it out that way.
That's what I did sometimes. I didn't play a record, but before I could really spell how to play blah, 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 I'd get my little Stratocaster, and I'd listen to some song on repeat until I figured it out, just like they were saying, what they just played to the record. And so that's just, it's one of those ways to learn songs that feels the most satisfying, is because you're not being taught how to play it, you're figuring it out.
I mean, I've always been excited to go to see a live show, and a Triumph, Rick Emmett with a Flying V. I'm like, I never even heard of it, but until you see him play it and see it, you go, whoa. I see Frank with a double neck guitar. I forgot who, first time I saw a double neck guitar, I'm like, what is this? Yeah. You don't have any of them hanging up, do you, on the wall yet?
I do have this Flying V.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Another one that my dad built. this is actually a really good guitar. I've played this a couple times, never live, but yeah, we did the custom paint job and lacquer, and yeah.
Wow, nice job. You got to sit down. Have you recorded a track with Dad yet?
No, not yet, actually. But I thought about it. I wanted to try and get a bunch of different guitars into the studio, but by the time we actually sat down to record the songs, it was always like, oh, crunch time. We only have a couple hours to record today. So, you know, it was all, okay, Kramer time or EVH time.
Do you have any other brothers and sisters and anybody that plays?
Actually, none of them really play like me, but I have two brothers, and the middle brother, he wanted to learn how to play guitar, and one day out here in the backyard, I sat down and I gave him one of my guitars and we started playing, and so he got a guitar recently, and yeah, he's been playing and playing more. So, you know, music is something that is starting to slowly take over the brothers.
There you go. So what advice would you give, Davin, for somebody, you know, young as you, trying to get into the business? Obviously, it's not easy. I always say hard work. I tell my kids and anybody, look, like anything else, practice and hard work pays. What advice would you give that, I mean, you've been doing it for a while now. You had a little breakup, you're back, and now you're touring, and now you got to keep the momentum, another album. Oh, we got to do a video. I got to go back to the farm and cut the grass. I mean, what advice would you give?
Man, I mean, the main piece of advice that
don't do it. No.
Oh, yes. You know, get a job.
Yeah.
What do you the other day? How do I get famous or whatever you want to say? And I was like, you know, the hardest part is finding the right people, finding the people that have the same mindset as you and have the same drive and determination as you. So I would say the main thing is, yeah, stick with it and keep doing it and try hard, but find a group of guys that you can get along with for hours and hours at a time.
Right, that you're gonna live with almost, right?
Yeah.
You got to know everybody's personality, you know what triggers everybody, who had a bad day, whose girlfriend fought with this one, who doesn't want to come to practice today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this leave that home, leave it at the door. We gotta rock and roll. Well, good for you, man. I'm so glad that you guys are getting where you're getting, and I hope you get the exposure that you need. I know I've been playing your tracks, and my phone would ring once in a while. Who's that? Because that's all I do. It's like every day I get a who's that? Because look, I played Van Halen till the cows come home and Sammy, but I mean anybody can do that. But so I found my niche. So I think it's great. I love, you know, looking at it behind me. I love the album cover of that. I mean, if you're gonna bring it on back and kick some ass, you might as well launch something into space. Was that, I forgot what my chat with Dino was, but was that pretty much you guys said, look, we gotta represent something? I mean, I always thought that if I look at the album cover and it looked boring, does it represent the songs that are in the album? I think it should. So I kind of, that's a kick-ass album cover. So I would think the content is going to be kick-ass, right?
There was a lot of different titles floating around when we were first starting to come up with the name of the album, and the album cover ideas were always changing. And then we decided on a title, and we said, okay, so there's a wide variety of songs on the album. We've got KSA, hard-hitting, punchy in the mouth rock. And we have Morgan Lane, which is a soft love ballad that's going to make you cry if you listen to it at the right time. And so we wanted to get something that represented all of that in the same spectrum. And so we found this image and we were like, that's kind of like perfect, because you have the space represents all like the into the unknown kind of songs, and then the KSA is represented by the hard rocket ship coming in the atmosphere and in flames, and those prettier songs are kind of all represented by, you know, the purples and the pinks. And so I feel like that's a great album cover to represent all of what you're going to hear.
A lot goes into it that people have no idea, right? It's like coming up with the name. The hardest part is like, what are we going to call ourselves that makes it simple and people can remember, you know, that everybody goes, oh, and that's us. You know, hopefully people, the minute they hear a track, they go Red Voodoo right away. You know, the minute the minute Dino opens his jaw, you go, oh shit, Red Voodoo. That's a Red Voodoo track.
And that's the thing that we have always wanted to accomplish, is because we went, I think, 3 or 4 different names before we landed on Red Voodoo. And one of the things we always said was the name doesn't make the band makes the name. So it's, you know, when you hear one of our songs, you automatically know that that's Red Voodoo. And these are the guys that play in Red Voodoo. So that way you can hear it and you can visualize us at the same time. And that's what the hardest part about landing on a name was. We went through so many that are just kind of like, yeah, they're cool, but does it really represent who we are and the music we play? So.
Right. That's so important. You know, it's like going to doing a live show and somebody is handling the sound and you're too loud. You know, that's the product. The product is the sound and the songs behind it, you know, and then Dino and you guys emotionally getting it out, selling it. You know, these are your songs. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, you know what was behind them all. So it's all cool. Well, folks in Cabo, Wabo, Cantina, October 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and I'll have to talk to Frank and get you back down there at the end of February, because I would love to see you guys, or when I get back to LA and have a day or two in California, which I don't get a chance to do as much, to go out there. It's going to be a blast, man. Have a blast, and I'm sure somebody will videotape it, and I can't wait to talk to you when you get back. I mean, that'd be cool. Tell me the experience and everything that you learned from it all.
No, sure. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, that would be great. Talk about the whole experience. I mean, it's going to be an experience too. We're all excited.
Are you nervous at all?
There's a little part of me that's nervous, but there's another part of me that's like, hey, you're getting to do this awesome thing that you've dreamt about doing since you were 5 years old. But, you know, with me, I get nervous while we're walking up the stairs to the stage. I'll be fine. I'll be completely fine. And got my guitar on, I'm playing it. And then I see the stage. I'm like, ugh.
Hey, like that's adrenaline. Like everybody's gonna get in but the minute you plug in, right, and somebody counts off 3, 2, 1, and you go, and then it's like home free. You're not even. Do you see the people? Like you mentioned before, you're watching the people lip back the words of the song, but you're really. I mean, you try not to focus, and mom and dad, everybody waving and jumping. You're like, I can't screw this up. I want to just play the song.
Well, one thing I think is funny that you say that is because when I watch and I look out at these crowds, I always try to give eye contact to certain, you know, people for the same amount of time. So it's more of a personal experience. You know, when you go to see Van Halen front row, or when I went and saw Greta Van Fleet front row, it was always like, oh my God, dude, he's looked at me, you know? So I always try to kind of give that same experience back. So I try to take in as many people as I can, especially when we were playing Y&T. We had the first section was just VU Crew. So it was our people right there. But beyond that, there was 1,500 other fans that haven't seen us before. And I want to make sure that they know that we appreciate them and we're seeing them and that we love them back. So that's what I was trying.
There you go. Things that, as a fan, you're right. I mean, I want to make eye contact. Have you practiced a guitar flick yet? You know, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotta be feeling it, because I'll be sitting there doing a guitar solo and I'll be like, now's the time. I'll flick it out there in the audience and someone will catch it and then I'll start tapping, and it's awesome. It's great. It's great.
All right, my man. Well, you're on all the socials, right? Instagram, Facebook, Red Voodoo Band. On Twitter, Red Voodoo Music. The new website. I told Frank I need a new T-shirt. We're rising up too many times now. I need to bring it on back.
We got some stuff in the works right now. We definitely have some more T-shirt ideas, and we got some. I think we got a new batch of shirts to sell at shows, but I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about what it is. But so we have.
Don't get yourself in a jam, man. But where can they buy the album?
You can buy the album anywhere that sells music online, and I think you're allowed to buy some off of our website. You can buy the CD off the website.
We want everybody to buy the CD. I mean, the download is great, but when you see Devin and Dino and Drew and Nick, they can't sign the digital thing. They got to sign the hard copy, and that's what I want. I want the hard copy, and I want it to sign. So it's all good. Devin, man, thank you for your time today. Send my best to the guys and Frank, and safe travels. And when you get back, please put it on your calendar when you got 5 minutes. And hey, we gotta get all four of you together. All right. I've talked to you and Dino a couple of times now. We got to get Drew and Nick and show them some love. But have a blast, my friend. Have a real cool blast.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to have as much fun as a person's allowed to have. And thank you for having me on your show today.
Absolutely. We're going to throw it out there as soon as we get done for you. So time to lock a little Red Voodoo. I mean, why not? Why not bring it on back and play the video and crank it on up?
Yeah, let's do it right now. Stimulation, I've been